Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the November 4th Board of Commissioners meeting. First, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Clark.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we have the approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I have one statement beforehand. I have talked to Ms. Markland about making an amendment, just a spelling amendment to the June 11th minutes. And so do we need to adopt those as amended? Okay, so when it comes to consent, we'll need to just adopt those as amended. And I would also like to add the Zebulon Bearcats to the agenda. Can that go under new business B?
Now, the proclamations, do I need to add those to the agenda also? Okay. I have proclamation for future health professionals. And the other one is proclamation supporting Operation Greenlight for veterans.
Would you like to add those right after public comment?
Yes.
So may I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
We have a motion. Is there a second?
We already had a motion on the floor. Jessica would need to amend her motion.
I make a motion to amend my first motion and to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Questions, comments? All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. Recognitions, Zebulon Elementary School, Ms. Kendall Corbett. Here? She's not here? We'll give her some time and come back. What about Ms. Lillian Cruz? All right, meet me at the podium. This evening, we're recognizing Ms. Lillian Cruz. Ms. Cruz is an expert in both grade level standards and high-yield instructional strategies. She intentionally plans to scaffold and enrich lessons and small groups for students to meet the diverse needs in her classroom. Ms. Cruz consistently meets high growth and proficiency targets year after year. Ms. Cruz creates a learning environment that is safe for all students while maintaining high expectations. Ms. Cruz has challenged herself with providing professional learning sessions for her colleagues, which include creating digital resources for use throughout the year. Ms. Cruz was the first staff member to dive into the integrating IndyCar into her EL lesson within our new STEM focus. Now that sounds fascinating. The town of Zebulon recognizes Lillian Cruz of Zebulon Elementary School for her expertise in grade level standards and high yield instructional strategies. On this date, November 4th, 2024, from Mayor Glenn L. York.
Noticing. Mayor, before we move forward, can we make one more amendment and just amend the date on our agenda, please? It says November 11th. Oh, what's
It
it?
was already changed last week.
Okay, I didn't get that part.
We took care of it.
Thank you.
And I'm not sure if this,
No, that's not. Okay. That's the middle school.
public comments. Let's see. During our public comment section, we have four individuals that have signed up. No speaker can speak on public items or any items that would need to be discussed under closed session. Speakers cannot speak more than once during the public comment portion of the meeting and cannot give their time to another speaker. If there is more than one person who wishes to speak on the same topic with that same point of view, it is recommended that they pick one person to speak on that topic if there's enough time for all speakers to have an opportunity to speak. Those who will not will be the first to speak at the next first meeting the following month. First to sign up is Shirley Snelly.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, and other town officials. First of all, I said thank you for this opportunity to come before you. I'm the president of James E. Shepherd School Alumni Association. Shepherd School is one of the schools here in the Zebulon city limits. And I would like to thank the town of Zebulon for funding us for the fiscal year of 2025. We were very elated to receive the news that we were considered and given this offer. Because of your funding, we will be able to carry out our vision, our mission, and our goals. Zebulon is growing, and we want to do our part to keep Zebulon a town of friendly people. Well, I guess it's still our motto. We stand firm, faithful, and committed to doing what is needed to help Zebulon continue to grow. One of our biggest efforts this year was our banquet, scholarship banquet and ball, which was in August, and we had over 200 people to attend, many from out of town, and members of the Zebulon community back in the 70s. And they were very pleased at what they saw that was going on in Zebulon and want to do more in order to bring the Zebulon community even more activities. We have an upcoming activities. We hope to bring as many on December the 14th. Those interested that came in August said they would probably come back in December, so we're trying to pull as many back as possible, and we've got a lot of communities here in which those that are out of state, they can move back here to Zebulon. We're looking forward to returning again and just doing our part to help make Zebulon, like I said, a town of friendly people. So thank you so much, and your funding funding is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Next, Dale Beck.
First of all, excuse me. First of all, Board, I appreciate this opportunity to speak. And it has got something to do about the bond issue. And we got a big election tomorrow. Of course, we've been voting already, so there's a whole lot of folks that's voted one way or the other. But I just wanted to emphasize to the people how important it is for the town of Zebulon that this bond issue pass. We've been trying for years to improve the transportation, particularly out here at Pierce's Road and Arundel. But I've said for years that the biggest problem that Zebulon had, one of the biggest problems is transportation. That's moving people through this town. And it's not so much the people who live in this town, but it's the people who live north of town, south of town, east of town, even west of town, coming in and getting on 64. But the transportation, and I include in that the sidewalks, we have been, in my opinion, extremely fortunate for people not to be seriously injured or killed on our streets because they walk a lot of times when they shouldn't be walking. But there's a lot of areas where they're walking and where there's no sidewalks. And I know we're making some progress doing that, getting more sidewalks, but we need more sidewalks because it is extremely, in my opinion, if you get out here and walk Wakefield Street, it's extremely dangerous. You walk Franklin Street from Wakefield over to Stratford, and it's extremely dangerous. And you see a lot of people do that. You see a lot of people walk by my house. It's extremely dangerous because people fly down that street. So I just wanted to, and I know that y'all know how important it is, and I know that there are people who are watching. We don't have all that many here tonight, but there are people who are watching this meeting that have not voted. So if you vote tomorrow, and please vote, and that's your right, that's your civil right to vote, but get out and support this bond system, this bond vote. It's extremely important. And the last comment I'll make about it is this. If you hear somebody complain about the traffic in Zebulon, particularly after they turn down the bond, say, ask them, did you vote for the bond? And they say, no, I didn't vote for the bond. I don't want to spend my money on it. Well, I don't either, but it's something that we need. Sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and do what you got to do. And that's not the easiest thing in the world to do sometimes. But say, tell them, if you didn't vote for the bond, I don't want to hear you. You ain't got a voice in it because you voted not to have it. So that's what I'm going to tell somebody. Say anything about, I'm going to ask them, did you vote for the bond? They say no. I said, I want to hear anything else about it then. So please, people, get out and vote for the bond. It's extremely important in my mind that we do this in order to alleviate some of the problems we have, and it won't alleviate all of it. So thank you very much, and y'all hang in there.
Thank you. Glenn Todd, Sr.
Mr. Mayor, Board of Commissioners, good evening to everyone. First of all, I would like to say that I appreciate the opportunity to come before you all to speak this evening. And I would like to say that I appreciate what the town of Zebulon is doing to improve our city or our town. I think one of us mentioned about the town of friendly people. When I was a little boy, and I've been in this town all my life, I really liked that sign. And as far as I know, we still have the town of friendly people. And I'm standing to speak on the issue about the rezoning for the property out at McTide Road. I think the developer, my family and all, we met several times, and we concluded that that project would be good for Zebulon and would be good for our community. So on behalf of my family, we have no objection to the developer developing that property on McTide Road. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will have Dwayne Porterfield.
Oh, good. Okay. My name is Dwayne Porterfield. I am the school social worker at Zebulon Middle. I also have my assistant principal over here, Ms. Harris, if you want to wave or whatever. I'm really here mostly just to show face, first of all. Me and my assistant principal, and I also spoke with Quentin Miles about this. We have a vision for Zebulon Middle School just to help it grow larger. We want to get more involved in the community and vice versa. We want the community to get more involved in the school. Pretty sure y'all all know about it. Zebulon doesn't really have the best reputation. It doesn't have the best reputation. School report card really isn't the best. But if you haven't been there a lot, we have a special group of kids and we have a special staff there that really care about the place. And we just want to do more for our kids. Whatever that looks like, I'm interested in speaking with anybody to explore whatever options are out there to just incentivize our kids to, grow, learn, and just achieve more. And however we can be a bigger part of the community, I want to know. I know I'm speaking very broad right now, but I just know, I just have a huge vision for our kids, that's all I'm saying. And I just want to see how the community can help us reach that vision. Whatever that looks like, whoever I got to get in contact with, y'all want to get in contact with me, it doesn't matter. But I just want Zebulon as a whole to grow. I want our kids to see more, achieve more, dream bigger, be bigger. Because Zebulon, like y'all all said, it is a special place. This is my 3rd year here. I love it here. I don't see myself at any other school while I'm in the school system. So whatever we can do for our children over there, because y'all know we ain't nothing without the future, and they're our future. So I just kind of pulled that out my hat, but I hope it was well received or anything. But I love the work that y'all do. Y'all do a great job, I think. And if this man right here, Quentin Miles, is any representation of all of y'all, man, y'all are gonna reach some high places, I promise you that. But thank y'all, appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Do we have any letters or emails from anyone that wishes to be part of public comment?
No, sir.
Thank you. Now, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Oh, my proclamations, I'm sorry, yeah. Proclamation, Future Professionals Health Week. Future Health Professionals is a career and technical students organization for high school, post-secondary, middle school students who plan to pursue a health career. Whereas the Future Professionals Health Week as a pipeline to the future for health professionals. Whereas it provides a strong foundation for preparing tomorrow's healthcare professionals through skill development, leadership opportunities, community service. And whereas health science education support and encourage students whose interests lie in pursuing health care, thereby helping to alleviate a national shortage of healthcare workers. Whereas it promotes the development and responsible citizenship personal integrity, and compassion for humanity. Therefore, I, Glenn L. York, Mayor of Zebulon, North Carolina, do hereby designate November 4th through the 10th, 2024 as HOSA Week in the town of Zebulon. Signed, Mayor Glenn L. York.
And just to bring up Zebulon Middle School once more, they have an absolutely fantastic HOSA program, and they're doing good work in our town.
Next, proclamation supporting Operation Greenlight for veterans. Whereas the residents of the town of Zebulon have a great respect, admiration, and utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces. Whereas the contributions and sacrifices of those who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and the way of life enjoyed by our citizens. Whereas the town of Zebulon seeks to honor individuals who have made countless sacrifices for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. Whereas Zebulon veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legions, the Veterans of Foreign Wars and religious groups, civil service, and help fellow former service members access federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year. Whereas approximately 200,000 service members transition to civilian communities annually, whereas study indicates that more than half of the service members experience high level of stress during the transition from military to civilian life, which includes being at a high risk for suicide during the first year after military service. Whereas the town of Zebulon appreciates the sacrifice of our United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be granted. Therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Commissioners that this week, November 6th through the 12th, 2024, is recognized Operation Greenlight, which at this time to shine a light on the service veterans and encourage our citizens to recognize the importance of honoring all those who made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying a green light in a window and their place of business and residence. This is adopted November 4th, 2024, signed Mayor Glenn L. York. And I think we also light up Town Hall during that time also with the green light. Now, consent agenda, motion approved.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
We have the motion. Is there a second? Second. Discussion? All in favor? Motion passed. Thank you. Old business. Planning Board.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Commissioners. Tonight, I will be just doing a brief overview of 901 Mac Todd Road. I know that you guys have seen it a number of times, but I'm here to answer any questions as well as the applicant is here tonight. So tonight, as you're thinking about this project, consider the following standards: whether this project meets the guidelines for health, safety, and welfare, whether it's appropriate for the location in which it's proposed, whether it's reasonable and within the public's interest, and then any other relevant factors that you as a board want to see. And then with this being a plan development, we are looking, you are looking for things that are better than the strict interpretation of the UDO standards. Property, the applicant is TMLA. The property owner is Capital Properties of North Carolina, LLC. The property address is 901 Mac Todd. The acreage, 2.3 acres. Current zoning is R4 conditional. Proposed zoning is for plan development. Site conditions, so currently it's just a wooded site. Current zoning, R4 conditional, and as previously discussed, this project was originally rezoned back in 2021 for the use of a bungalow court, and so as currently zoned, this that you see before you is what can be built on site. Including a reduction in front setbacks from 20 to 15 feet, reduction in rear setbacks from 15 to 5 feet, and then as well, one of the conditions of approval was that there would be a privately maintained agreement to be established, private maintenance agreement to be established for the shareable driveways and other common infrastructure as part of the homeowners association. So that's what the current zoning is. The future land use is general residential. Timeline of activity. First review was submitted on the 24th of January. The comment letter was sent back to the applicant in March. TRC meeting was held in March. The second review was submitted in April. Comment letter was sent out at the end of April, and then the third review was submitted early May. You first saw this back in June. So concept plan, so this is the concept plan as you have seen before. If you have any questions about it tonight, we're here to answer any questions as well as the applicant. Urban open space, instead of providing active open space, the applicant has proposed to provide 100% of their open space to be urban open space, and so they'll be activated in ways that enhance public gathering versus active recreation. As well, road improvements as part of this project include widening for a 2-lane median divided road. Architectural details, I have this slide up. If you have any questions about what's being proposed as far as architectural details, the applicant is here to answer those tonight. Utility allocation, with any project coming before you, you will see a utility allocation policy. With the utility allocation policy, the applicant must reach 60 points, and here they are showing that they have reached those 60 points. Since the August meeting, the applicant has met with the concerned community members about the project. And the applicant is here as well as those community members, as you just heard them in the public comment. So again, I'm going to go over these standards as you're considering this project tonight. Consider whether this meets the guidelines for health, safety, and welfare, whether it's appropriate for the location in which it's proposed, whether it's reasonable and within the public's interest, and then any other relevant factors. And as well, with this being a planned development, whether it's better than the strict interpretation of the UDO standards. So Planning Board recommended unanimous approval of PD 2024-02 for 901 Mac Todd, finding that the standards of section 2.2.25.j and section 3.5.5 have been met and the request is consistent with the comprehensive land use plan. Staff recommends approval of ordinance 2025-07 for 901 Mac Todd Road, finding that the standards of 2.2.25.j and section 3.5.5 have been met, and the request is consistent with the comprehensive land use plan. I'm here to answer any questions from the board, as well as the applicant is here, so if you would like to recognize them to say anything, or if you have any questions for them, now's the time to do that.
If they would like to come forth.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the Commission. Pam Porter with TMTLA Associates. I'm here tonight with Mike Nadriga, who's the property owner. Thank you, Kate, for the overview. That was a really good overview, so I'm not even going to give you the normal overview because she did such a good job. So I'm just going to pick up where we left off last time. So as you may remember, we were here in August for a vote, and we were tabled for 2 months to engage with the Todd family, who owns much of the land to the south and east of our property. And we had 2 meetings with the family. The first meeting was on September 25th, and the initial meeting was for us to information gather only, to collect a list of their questions and concerns so we could do some research and get back with them. And between our first and second meeting, we had really good conversations with town staff, including the mayor, the interim town manager, and the director of community and economic development. and we wanted to make sure that we were utilizing the resources available to us to get the answers we needed to report back. The second meeting we had was on October 24th, and we were able to report back to the family with what we found out. And while it was evident that many of the concerns that they had we could not directly address with our project, we were able to discuss how this small infill type project would have less impact than a much larger project with many more units. One thing we did discuss with the Todd family that I wanted to mention was regarding rentals. And they're understandably concerned about people renting and not taking care of their homes. And we know the town cannot regulate rentals, but we did tell them that in the HOA documents that we would prohibit short-term rentals and limit the percentage of units that can be bought by a rental company. And we thought, and they were fine with that. They know that the town cannot regulate rentals, but we do understand that we don't want somebody buying them all and renting them out. So they seemed happy with that too. And at the end of the second meeting, they said that they were in support of our project, and as you heard from Glenn Todd, he said that he is a representative there in support, and I'm glad he was here to verbalize that with you. That was really helpful. I think that they came to speak on their side of it as well. And I got to say, I've done a lot of community engagement. I've been doing this for 17 years, and I've done a lot of zonings. And what happened over the last 3 months with the engagement with the Todd family was probably some of the best community engagement that I've ever been involved with. It was really meaningful. I feel like we were able to address their concerns, even if it was just us explaining to them in a little bit more detail what our project was about. Sometimes that's all it takes, is just sitting over a plan set or a screen, if you have a screen in front of you, and kind of talking through the details. And I think that that really went a long way. And they also felt like they were heard, which they told us at the end of our second meeting. And they really appreciated us taking the time to listen to them and to, you know, take the information they give us, do our research, and come back and give them answers on their concerns. So we were really thankful that we were given that opportunity as opposed to just getting a no vote, because I think we have come to a really good ending to this. With that, I will say thank you for your consideration, and we look forward to your vote, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions, comments from the board?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion, Mayor. I hereby recommend approval of ordinance 2025-07 for 901 MacTodd Road, finding that the standards of section 2.2.25.j and section 3.5.5 have been met, and the request is consistent with the comprehensive land use plan.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments from the board? We'll have a roll vote. Commissioner Davis?
Favor.
Commissioner Clark?
Favor.
Commissioner Harrison?
Favor.
Commissioner Miles?
Favor.
Commissioner Baxter?
Favor.
Motion passes. Thank you. New business, Public Works, Christmas Parade.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. Tonight, I come for you to request a street closure on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce. They are requesting that the right-of-way on West MacGyver Street be closed from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. on December 12th for their block party for their annual Christmas party. It gives them the ability to go from their office over to the Merritt Nairn CPA's office. The event is open to the public and it's free of charge. A little bit of background on the physical analysis. The total charge for staff to set up a work zone, barricades and warning signs and 3 hours of staff time is $255.25. If you were only looking to cover our direct costs or personnel costs, that would be for 3 hours at $119.25. The board could also reduce the fees in its entirety. The applicant is requesting the fees in its entirety be waived, and the board's criteria for waiving and reducing fees have been met. It is the staff's recommendation for the closure of approximately 125 feet of West MacGyver Street through the adoption of Resolution 2025-05. And with the movement of that resolution, if you could say you support or waive the fees associated with the work zone setup. And I'm prepared to answer any questions, and Mr. John Stafford with the Chamber of Commerce is here also.
Questions? Commissioner Baxter?
So this event is slated or anticipated to have 50 to 60 potential people at the event. Also at the event, there's going to be alcohol served.
Yes, ma'am.
With the proximity of their location to North Arundel Avenue, I have a request that a police officer be required to be engaged for that, for the time that the event is going to be taking place.
Typically on our policies for 50 or 60 people, it's up to the applicant to request that of our police department, but if that's the condition of road closure, we can clearly ask the chamber if that's something they're interested in entertaining.
My concern is just the location of where this event's going to be taking place and the possibility of there being some kind of incident since it's located so close to the Arundel Avenue.
A road closure would require an officer being there anyway, so we'll have one there.
Okay, all right, wonderful, thank you. Yeah. So the cost for the officer is figured into the total for
They'll
the
be paid directly.
personnel?
They'll be paid directly by the chamber to the officer.
Okay, okay. All right, awesome.
Saffel, do you have anything?
I just wanted to say something. I didn't know if you wanted to say anything. You were standing.
You're good? Okay. Go ahead.
The paperwork says annual Christmas party. Have you had this before? Or is this like in place of something else? I was just confused with that part.
We have, here in Merritt has historically hosted the Christmas party for the chamber. And in the past year, they've relocated from the facility across from Town Hall to the facility on the corner of Arundel and McIver. So we just thought it would be just because of capacity, being able to park at the chamber and then being able to have activities over at the Merritt facility, that would work better in terms of the logistics.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
So as written, we'll be waiving those fees, or that's something we have to do conditional with that?
Make that in your motion, sir, for part of resolution 2025-05, if you are considering waiving those fees or partial of those fees.
All right. I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we waive the fees associated with Resolution 2025, as well as hereby approving Resolution 2025 for the date of December 12th, 2024.
Just say it's resolution 2505.
Gotcha. 2025-05 for December 12th, from the hours of 7 p.m., from 3 to 7 p.m.
Okay. I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll vote. Commissioner Baxter?
Approve.
Commissioner Miles?
Favor.
Commissioner Harris? Favor. Commissioner Clark? Favor. Commissioner Davis?
Favor.
Motion passes. Thank you.
I guess it stays on the new business. All right, Mr. Mayor, our next topic discussion tonight is Five County Stadium. Tonight, I want to come before you and give you an update on the discussions that we've been having with the Carolina Mudcats organization regarding the termination agreement. Just as I'm giving this update tonight, Deputy County Manager, Ms. Emily Lucas is here. She has sent out an email very similar to the presentation I'm going to give you tonight, updating her board. So she even shared with me, she stole a little bit of my language in the staff report to share with her board. So they're getting the same information tonight. You're just getting it verbally, they're getting it written. Currently, on April 21st of 2024, we were in shock that the Carolina Mudcats decided to move to Wilson, and in their termination with us, starting with the 2026 season. Clearly, as y'all well know, we were working with them on expansion of the stadium to meet new Major League Baseball standards. We were working with them on a new lease, new long-term lease to make all these things happen. The county had hired CAA Icon and Dan Barrett to be the lead on those negotiations and our subject matter expert. And then clearly, unfortunately, the Mudcats decided to make their new home in Wilson. At that point, the county transitioned their contract with Mr. Dan Barrett to allow him to lead us in the termination agreement process with the Mudcats. The Mudcat, Mr. Barrett, being our subject matter expert and many years of experience dealing with leases, is supported by the town attorney and his staff, Wake County town attorneys, myself, and Emily Lucas, the deputy county manager. Several of our framework for the negotiation of the goals was clearly, first and foremost, to comply with the contractual commitments of the existing lease. Secondly, we wanted the county and the town to move forward with securing a new tenant and partner to resume sporting, entertainment, and other events at the stadium as early as spring of 26. Third, we wanted the town and the county to be compensated greater than what we've been received if the Mudcats Brewers had remained in a lease through 2027. Fourth, we also wanted to require the Brewers and the Mudcats to remove all personal items at the stadium. As you can imagine, them being there over 30 years, there's a lot of personal items that are there that they have accumulated over time, a lot of items with logos that need to be removed, and to be consistent with their contract, those things need to be removed and put back in a new like condition. One of those being the big one is the elevated tank there that needs the logo and the stitches being removed. And then last, one of the frameworks of the goals we were trying to set up that CAA is leading us with is the guarantee that the town and county will not have to make any of the Major League Baseball mandated improvements that we were previously working on. Clearly, we did not want to make any investments into a stadium that the Brewers were not going to be there and maybe a new tenant or partner would not benefit from. So clearly, those were our goals, our framework that CAA has been leading us through. At this point, I do want to let you know that there's been no final decisions have been made. We're just developing the framework to ultimately bring back to you, and nothing is final until this board and the Wake County Board sign off on this amendment. What are our next steps? Hopefully, on the 18th, we have a work session. Our manager has requested that we have a closed session to talk about the lease agreement in more details and talk about the legal requirements associated with the lease, and also start sharing some finer points of the lease negotiations that we have. And then hopefully on December 2nd, we can have final agreement with the Mudcats, bring this agreement in front of you, and also the Wake County Board of Commissioners earlier that night for hopefully amendment. But if we're not ready, we're not ready. This is your contract, and you need to be happy with it. We think we've guided you and put you in a place to make good decisions, but ultimately it's your decision. With that, I stand ready to answer any questions you may have. Of course, Ms. Emily Lucas is here tonight with Wake County, our attorney here, Mr. Vernon, and also his staff to support us. So if Taylor Emery, if you have any questions for any of us, we'll be glad to answer at this time. Thank you.
I'm sure that we are, as part of the negotiation process, going to be trying to recover some of the lost revenue from, that loss of that economic.
Yes, ma'am. As stated, that is definitely one of our goals.
Okay. And with that, I'm sure that we are also going to be in negotiation for what that final year's rental would be as well.
The rent will remain as it is in the contract, but we are working on a termination agreement that does pay us a cash settlement at the end.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Lucas, do you have anything you would like to update us on?
Good evening, Commissioners, and thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. Chris covered most of the details of what we've been working on the past several months as staff with our legal counsel as well as CA ICON. We do believe we're in a great position to move forward to bring both boards a lease amendment on your December 2nd agenda that you will be happy with. We believe that will leave us in a good financial position, as well as a position to move forward to seek new tenants and partners in Five County Stadium to move forward as early as spring of 2026 with something new, better, and different than what we have today. So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to work with the town on this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Thank you, sir.
That's a big move. It should be all five just one time. Let's make it happen. That party contract deal.
New business, Bearcats.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Lieutenant, Commissioners, George Rolo, Town, how are you, everybody? I'm here today because of something you guys talked about at one of your work sessions. You had mentioned that sometimes organizations come and ask you for money and then never give you like an update on what happened with that money. So I wanted to thank you all, especially Parks and Rec and everybody, for helping us waive those fees. You know, the $2,000, $3,000, the thousands of dollars that you gave us helped us kick off our first football season here in Zebulon. We had over 80 children participating in the football and cheer program. We had between 300 to 400 people come to each home game that we had. Thank you to my boss also, he's not here, Robert Terry, for opening up his office. We were able to create a after-school tutoring program for the kids on the team, where we provide tutoring for them for free, 2 hours a week, just to help them, because the problem that we ran into was these kids perform on the field, but they don't have any homework, or they don't have anyone to help them at home. And if we get their grades corrected so they can play, then the other problem we run into is their behavioral issues that they have in school, so they land in ISS, in-school suspension anyway. I was interested in maybe meeting with the school social worker to see, a lot of the kids that I tutored go to Zebulon Middle School. You know, all the kids are from Zebulon. It would be nice to do some sort of program where if the child is problematic at school or has a behavioral issue, that we as the coaches get an opportunity to meet with them or participate in their IEPs so that we can schedule some time to work with them outside of football. Thank you for the town. We raised over $20,000 to buy all the equipment and the uniforms. Thank you for the people that donated food for us to cook, to sell at the events. It's just overall surreal experience to have brought football back to town and to be successful. We made it to the first round of the playoffs, but like my hometown Jets, that's as far as we made it. We had a lot of parents. We started this program very quickly when my wife and I got the opportunity to start this. In February, maybe March, I think I was here. I started asking you guys about how I could bring it into town, and a lot of the parents that live in Zebulon already have their children playing football outside of Zebulon. There was a team here, but they didn't know that we were starting. And also there's a lot of issues when you're starting a program. A lot of the businesses that unfortunately didn't donate to us, they wanted to see how we ended up our first year, because there's a lot of, I don't know what the word would be, there's just a misconception that a nonprofit, you know, a stranger knocking on your door saying, hey, can you give us money for the kids? Sometimes the money might not make it there, or the program might not even get off the ground. But I can assure you we are here, and hopefully for the long road. So thank you to you guys for what you've done. Thanks to the town for your support. Next season, we're probably going to double our numbers because a lot of the parents who wanted to come and join, unfortunately with the league rules is once you start playing, you can't take new kids. So it's just a word of mouth and trying to do some more marketing to let the other parents know. We are going to reassess our fees for next year as well because we're now established, so we don't need as much startup capital. Parks and Rec, thank you so much for what you've done. The field was incredible. For the commissioners that came, thank you. If you didn't get a chance to see the field, some of the other teams that came were like, wow, this is nicer than what we got. So I really appreciate that. It was a good experience for the kids. Yeah, we might expand and try to bring other sports into town if there's an interest, like I know field hockey, lacrosse, it just depends on where the area is. I like to maybe try to keep the Bearcats involved with after-school tutoring, or how we can plug into the middle school to help maybe, mentor or whatever we need to do. But I just wanted to come and let you know that it was money well spent. I appreciate it, and I will probably be up here asking for more money in the future. But thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Good job. Jenna, we can talk to him though, correct? We could have talked. I just want to let him know, I will definitely connect you with the gentleman that spoke earlier, though, Dwayne. I'll definitely connect, the middle school, definitely connect you.
Next.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I have two items I'd like to update you on. One will be by Chief Boykin, just kind of give you an update on public safety and where we are. But before she does, I'd like to also give you an update on employee benefits, just so you're aware, because you also are covered by medical insurance. So as you know, we're currently covered by Blue Cross Blue Shield, and there will be no increase to dental, vision, or even life insurance rates this year. And there will be no changes to our Plan A or Plan B. They will remain the way they are. However, we're going to have an increase to our medical coverage. Initially, when they approached us, they had said they were going to renew it by 18.7%, which is way above the 8.5% that we have today. But that's obviously because of very high claims through the month of August of this year. But thankfully, we were able to negotiate that down to 8%, but also with a wellness credit of about $10,000. So I think that that's a better deal for us, even though it's going up, but not as high as it was initially going to be renewed for. If you will recall, during the budget, we actually budgeted a 10% increase for this. So we actually are coming in at a less amount of increase than what was, less than what was budgeted for. So overall, that's good. I just wanted to inform you of that. So if our employees are watching, or you're also, you're going to be covered by that as well. Wanted you to be aware of what's going to happen before the open enrollment, which will be November 18th.
Could you please get that to us, all that documentation? Thank you.
I will email that to you, but just wanted to make sure that I brief you all on that. Thank you. So, Chief.
Keep going.
You have to get to your presentation. It's not part of this one because it came late. You should be able to find it at the bottom. It should be open. There you go. Jackie, it's right there already on the screen.
Oh. Apologize.
It was loaded. It just isn't part of the
I got
main
you.
one.
Okay, good evening to each of you. I was asked to give a mini briefing today on a couple of different projects that we have going on at the police department, so I thought it'd be a good time to do a brief strategic plan update.
Deep breath. Fine, we're good to go.
As a reminder, in 2021, we set out to redefine our mission and values and to establish a strategic plan for the police department. Our mission is to enhance community engagement while keeping Zebulon safe. We do this with the core values of professionalism, integrity, and service. And these are three words that are always on our mind. They are and should be our decision-making filter. We set out 5 fundamental goals with our strategic plan to prevent, deter, and thoroughly investigate crime, mitigate traffic concerns, build community partnerships, adhere to industry best practices, and commit to employee wellness and job satisfaction. I'm going to speak to you briefly about each of these goals and offer a quick milestone or two. 2 of the performance measures that we continuously monitor are crime rate and response time. It's important for us to evaluate crime trends as it relates to how our population is growing, and we want to be sure that we're getting to citizens as quickly as we can when they call us for help. Our goal is to maintain a crime rate and a response time below or at the 3-year average. From 2021 to 2023, there were roughly 36 Part 1 crimes per 1,000 people living here. And in 2024, there were about 25 Part 1 crimes per 1,000 citizens. We have seen a tremendous reduction in crime since I first got here. But I understand that the data doesn't always match community sentiment, and I want to take a moment to comment on the recent missing person and death investigation that happened in Weaver's Pond. I know that serious crimes like this can put our community at unease, especially in a small town. Even though Kareem wasn't from Zebulon, he detailed some of your cars. You lived in the neighborhood he went missing. You knew his family or friends, or you just had an empathetic connection to this case. And I understand that not knowing all of the details can cause concern. I'm not able to speak to you about an ongoing investigation, but I want to tell you that we have not received one single piece of information or piece of evidence that leads us to believe that there is any concern for the people in Weaver's Pond or in Zebulon as a whole. I can only ask our community to give us the time to properly conduct this investigation so that when the time is right, we can provide you very thorough and complete information. We'll continue to keep Kareem's loved ones in our thoughts and prayers and keep the condolences coming. And there's not an easy way to transition from this, so I'm just going to roll into the response time. So again, I'm referring to the prevention, deterrence, and investigation of crime. You will recall when we first started working on our strategic plan, we set a goal to respond to emergencies in 4.5 minutes. But that just has not been a reality for us. We've not met that goal in the 4 years that I've been here. So early 2023, we revised our strategic plan to set the goal similar to the crime rate, such that we want to be doing better today than we were yesterday, and our goal is for us to be better than the 3-year average. So you can see from 21 to 2023, the average response time to emergencies is just over 6 minutes, and in 2024, it was right around 5.5 minutes. Our second goal is to mitigate traffic concerns facing our community. 2 of the action items we use to monitor our progress are related to crash investigations. 2023 was our first year to have the traffic unit in full operation the whole year. And one of their major job responsibilities is crash investigation. There's a lot of things happening on this screen here. In the top chart there, you will see in FY24, 458 crashes. For the first time since I've been here and in the years leading up to me being here, we actually saw crashes go down in 2024. And that was unexpected. With the growth of our community, we would expect to see just a continual increase. But we think that some of our proactive efforts are helping to mitigate these crashes. One of the main things that we do is to conduct traffic enforcement and high visibility in those high crash areas. And we also recognize that education and awareness also goes a lot further than a citation or arrest sometimes. So our strategy is to employ education and awareness when we can. You've heard me talk about educate, warn, then cite. In the past 4 years, about 1/3 of our traffic stops result in the education piece, whether through roadside consultation or a formal warning. Our third goal is to build community partnerships through outreach and engagement. And we established these 8 different action items ranging from revising internal expectations to developing community alliances. We measure this goal annually through the number of hours committed to community outreach, and you can see a steady increase over the last 4 years, with last year having the most community outreach that we've had in the last 4. And I'll go back to something you've heard me say, whether it's through a swearing-in ceremony or a budget presentation. My personal philosophy on policing is that policing is half community engagement and half law enforcement, and the more we can do on the front end, the less we have to do on the back end. So I think the work that's being done here ends up impacting one of those earlier slides where you see that decrease in crime rate. Our fourth goal is to adhere to industry best practices. You funded this project by supporting a police planner who was hired in January of 2023, allowing us to begin our journey towards police accreditation. It typically takes about 3 years of self-assessment to ready yourself for that program. And we set a goal in January when the police planner got here to have half of our policy manual in compliance with accreditation standards by the end of 2023, and all of our policies to be in compliance with standards by December 2024. We met that goal early in September. David let us know that our policies were ready to go. In 2025, we will have 3 outside audits, if you will. The first will be a mock assessment by North Carolina professionals. The next will be next summer, probably summertime, a web-based assessment by CALEA, and then likely in the fall, the site-based assessment where CALEA comes in person to evaluate your operations. Another of our best practice action items was to implement a recruitment plan that'll help move us to having a more diversified applicant pool and workforce. We have seen good progress in both of those populations over the last 4 years. Minority applicants have almost doubled in the last 3 years, and our workforce is now 40% non-white male. Not only are we growing our female and minority representation, but also veterans, staff over 40, physically impaired, and people who speak a second language.
The green.
Green.
Last slide. What's the 16%?
Oh yeah, I don't know why that didn't show up on the, 16% is white female.
Okay.
I don't know why that didn't show up on the last of our principal goals is geared toward organizational health. It involves action items that are aimed at improving employee well-being and job satisfaction, which tend to lend to a healthy work environment. I've provided several updates on the career development ladder over the last 2 years. We continue to see employees progressing in their careers, making them riper for promotion or specialized assignment. But it also allows them to be better compensated for the work that they do, as does our incentive program. This year we offered 3 residency bonuses to officers living in town. This stipend encourages town residency, ultimately improving emergency response time and visibility in our communities. Notably, last year, or over the last 2 years, we've seen a 22% increase in volunteerism with the police department. Most of our volunteers come from our Faith Alliance and Citizens Academy graduates. And in the coming year, we expect to see exponential growth in our intern hours, because the 2 ladies on the right are putting in over 40 hours a week. We're excited to see where the CARE program and other projects will take us in the coming year. And that's all I have for you. Comments?
Any questions for the chief? Just one quick question, Chief. You said the CARE. How can you explain how and when the CARE unit is called out and implemented to a situation? How does that work, just procedural-wise?
So they're not necessarily called out to a scene. It would be very unusual for that to happen. When an officer goes to a scene and recognizes youth who are either victims, witnesses, or suspects, they put together an email and it's forwarded to the CARE unit and the division commander. The division commander makes assignments to the 2 ladies, and then the ladies follow up with the family, ideally within a week. It doesn't always happen that way. They came in the door and had a stack of cases waiting for them, and it's rare that I get a daily report that there's not another referral on there. There's a lot of work to be done in that area.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Davis.
I'm excited to see you're saying that we have doubled with a diverse applicant pool. Are we seeing those high numbers as well, as far as those applicants moving forward to the hiring process?
So I need to give a little bit of context to that. We had 37 applicants in 2024 up to like September 1st. I didn't look at anything prior to September 1st. And that's where these numbers came from, those 37 applicants. I would estimate that 75% of them were applicants who had no law enforcement experience, and they were looking for sponsorship to or to be hired for the police academy as a cadet. And we entertained those type of candidates way earlier in the year, not more recently in the year. So for me to say that, to give context to who is making it through a hiring process for police officers, those numbers are going to be a little bit different there. But I don't have these statistics right on the tip of my tongue. We had two white males hired, one white female, one black female hired. So it's not going to be terribly far off from what you see there. They are progressing through the steps in the process. First is an application review. They are passing the application review consistently with traditional candidates. The interview phase only took one candidate out this year. He was not a minority or female. We lost 6 candidates who had made it past the interview, who were in the background phase, who were good candidates, 6 of them, and 60% of the 6 were minorities who chose to pull out of our process to take jobs at other cities where, honestly, they're just being paid a lot more. So I have not dug into those numbers to see if there's disparate impacts at each level of or each stage of the hiring process. My immediate thought is that there is not, that they are removing themselves for different opportunities. I'm happy to dig into that, though, because I'm curious about it now.
Yeah, I would really like to see that. Like I said, I'm glad that we have applicants coming, but it starts to sound disappointing when they're not moving forward to the phase. And I hear you when you're saying that they're going to other municipalities that are paying more, and I know we've had that discussion quite a few times, but just still curious of what our efforts can continue to be so that we can recruit and retain those applicants.
Commissioner Miles? Chief, while she's on that same topic, what is our relationship with Noble like for our police station? What do we have, our relationship with Noble? How is that? Do we have any kind of insight on that?
I'm going to defer to Lisa. I know that we advertised with them one time in 2024. I don't believe we got any applicants from it. Did you have anything else to offer on that?
No, most of the applicants that we're getting have not come from advertisements on the national level when we're advertising with the various national organizations. So we advertise not every time with them, but several times throughout the year we will advertise with them in hopes of getting some other applicants to come through those processes.
So how can we make sure in the future that we constantly, because I'm speaking to some of those reps, working part of the organization before, they have candidates that are coming out looking for jobs that are willing that $58,000 that we're starting base pay for ourselves. Some of those guys would come in and take that salary. So how can we ensure that in the future that we make sure we advertise in that, with that medium? That's
like I said, we advertise a couple times a year with them. What we are getting ready to do is put out another ad coming in the future. I will make a point of it. If you will get me whoever it is you're speaking with, get me their contact information and see what we can do to have a more in-depth conversation between he and I and the chief and what they're hearing.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Chief, is there an equivalent Hispanic organization?
There is.
There is.
And we're
Yes.
advertising? Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. Thank you.
We also in relationship with colleges, local colleges, especially like our HBCUs. In particular, North Carolina Central.
We have a recruiting team, and when we're made aware of job fairs and such, we send members of the recruitment team out there. I know that we had an appointment with Meredith recently. I have not heard of any other fairs in the last 2 months or so. I don't recall our staff going to any events in the last 2 months.
I think that'd be good. We have plenty of colleges around here, and like you said, Meredith, North Carolina Central, and I know they specialize in criminal justice, so that'd be great. We could develop that relationship further.
So advertise with Handshake, which goes through all of those particular universities. And so we've pretty much chosen all the HBCUs and various others within the community, but also outside of this state, looking for applicants. Like I said, we're in the process of revamping our whole process. We want to be working with Caleb to do a video. So, why do people want to come here and work? And those particular things as it relates to the police department. So to do something a little bit different than what we've done in the past as well, but we will continue to advertise in those ways.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Comments?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Any additional manager report?
None, Mayor. Thank you.
Board comments? Commissioner Baxter?
Yes, I would like to, since the chief is right there, just make sure that I acknowledge that the town is working very hard, and we are in communication with both NCDOT as well as the developer to make sure that the lights at 39 and Old 264 get turned on as quickly as possible.
2 weeks.
And we've been told that it's going to happen as soon as 2 weeks. I know that this is definitely an intersection of high concern for a lot of residents, and for good reason. And it is not because the town has dropped the ball on getting those lights turned on. It's just, it's a complicated and oftentimes frustrating process, but those lights are due to be turned on shortly. I would like to make sure that everyone who is a veteran or has a veteran in their family, is a friend of a veteran, make sure to take the time to recognize their service. My family has a very diverse military service background in many branches, and we are going to be celebrating our veterans this Wednesday at 10 a.m. here at the Municipal Center. If you have an opportunity to drive by or take a look at the webcam on WRAL, we have some beautiful flags put out, and we're so very grateful to the Rotary. It's the Rotary Club that's put them out. It's makes for a very meaningful ceremony. So if you have the opportunity to stop by on Wednesday, it really is quite special. On November 23rd, we are going to be celebrating Candy Cane Lane, an event that seems to be increasing exponentially in attendance over the past few years, but that's because it's so much fun. So make sure you mark your calendars. If you head out to the Raleigh Parade, make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to swing by Candy Cane Lane in the evening. I believe that starts at 4, right, Sheila? 4 p.m. You can register now to be in the parade, which is going to be happening on December 8th. There have been just so much interest, and we'd love to see any local groups that are out there and want to march and participate to please go ahead and go online and find the registration link and sign up. I'd like to thank former Commissioner Beck for his comments this evening. I appreciate those very much. I would like to encourage everyone to get out and vote, and to remember that the bond is covering some traffic improvements that have been identified by the community, and we've placed importance on them because that's what the community has asked of us. And we will be making improvements to those identified areas. It's just a matter of how much is it going to cost us. The longer that we delay, the more these projects are going to cost the residents. And finally, I'd like to thank the Bearcats for coming before us and talking about not only what their season looked like, but what they're doing outside of just coaching football. I love that they're also tutoring our kids. We have a wonderful, wonderful after-school program with the Boys and Girls Club, but knowing that these athletes and cheerleaders are getting the extra help that they need academically is so very appreciated. So members of the board will be headed to the National League of Cities Conference later on this month, and I know that we will be coming back with lots of wonderful information on how we can help our community to continue to progress in the right direction to becoming, well, even more of the great community that it currently is. Thank you.
Miles.
Go vote.
Amen.
Commissioner Harrison.
Thank you. I just wanted to make further comment on, very excited to be going to chair my final committee with the National League of Cities Youth Education and Family. Unfortunately, this year we were not able to get our youth council back up and going to make it in time to attend the National League of Cities, but I wanted to thank Parks and Rec for your hard work in getting that youth council back going. Thank you for the teen social that you did a few weeks ago. I really think a lot of them cheated with Minute to Win It, but nevertheless, it was a very fun night. Just joking, they didn't cheat. It was a great night, and I'm very excited to be at a point where we're engaging them more so that we can see what it is they want to do within the community. So thank you for the work that you're putting in to get that done. And I will echo everyone else. Please go vote tomorrow. Thank you.
Commissioner Clark.
I also want to make sure everyone goes and votes, but also like Ms. Dale Beck said, if you don't vote for the bond, then don't complain about the traffic. But, you know, that is your choice, so just remember to go vote tomorrow.
Davis.
I want to wish everybody a wonderful Thanksgiving season. Thanksgiving and not Christmas yet. I know so many people are excited to put their Christmas decorations.
My tree is up.
But Thanksgiving matters. Turkeys are important. So I'm excited for November, the great things to come. Like they said, Candy Cane Lane. I'm excited for everybody to go out and vote tomorrow, and great things are to get ready to happen for this holiday season.
Thank you. I'd just like to, oh, you're not through?
Sorry.
Oh, go right ahead. Continue.
So sorry.
Just pull a Shannon Baxter and have more to say.
I think I might have. I just wanted to give some special thank yous. Again, I did a post on Facebook, but there was a lot of great events that did take place in the month of October, and I just want to applaud, again, the Angel Prince for their walk, and I want to thank LaTanya and, give me his name.
Dan Holder.
Dan, thank you, Holder, for their event for the breast cancer awareness. That was very successful. Shout out to the football teams and the ending of their season. So great things that took place in October. So that's it.
What about the Fall Festival?
Go Fall Festival.
The Fall Festival in Autumn Lakes.
That will hopefully be November 16th. We are still underway in making that happen. But the community of Autumn Lakes, where I reside, is planning to host a fall festival November 16th, open to all residents. You will see flyers posted on Facebook with updates, and we are hoping to have our wonderful police and fire department presence there with all of your smiling faces.
More dissertation?
What's that?
Any more dissertation?
I mean, I can go on and on. You want me to? Listen, we're good.
Next is we're going to go into closed session to discuss personnel discussions. It's allowed by GS 143-318.11. Parenthesis A, parenthesis 6 for the personal personnel discussion. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. And before we go into closed session, 5-minute recess.